We've already discussed some of the severe criteria for severe thunderstorm and tornado warnings, but how do those elements actually form? Meaning, how does hail form and how do tornadoes form? Well, we're going to discuss hail first and then we'll get to tornadoes. But in a thunderstorm, you really have two main parts to discuss as far as that hail formation goes. You've got your downdrafts and you've got your updrafts. The updrafts of a storm are pretty much the air and the water droplets rushing into the thunderstorm itself. Now, that water rises up into the atmosphere and it goes so high up into the atmosphere that it moves into much colder air and it actually freezes and supercools in the upper part of the atmosphere. Now, when it becomes a little too heavy, it starts to fall as an ice pellet, but it is interacting with that same updraft, which is very strong at that point, and it continues to grow in size as it moves up into the atmosphere. That cycle happens several different times until finally the hailstone is large enough to fall out of the storm and onto the ground, and this can cause some serious damage. You can see roof damage, damage to vehicles, and damage to siding, which is why it's important for the National Weather Service to issue severe thunderstorm warnings for hail. Now, it takes a certain size of hailstone to actually see what they consider severe criteria, and that starts with about a diameter an inch, a quarter-sized hailstone as they like to call it, and this can go all the way up to softball size and even larger. Now, we don't often see softball-sized hail here in East Texas. However, we've seen our fair share of large hail. A couple of years ago, our friend in Marshall sent this to us. This is from Joshua Cutler, and he saw about 2.5 diameter hail. Now, imagine very quick and heavy moving tennis balls falling from the sky. This is exactly why you need to seek shelter if there is large hail falling from the sky. And this is exactly what happened in Longview in January of 2022. This was from our sky view in downtown, and you can see some hail falling at a very quick clip, and that warranted a severe thunderstorm warning there. Okay. That is hail. Let's go ahead and transition over to how a tornado forms. So in a supercell thunderstorm, typically you have a rotating horizontal column of air. Those same updrafts that helped create our hailstones pushes that horizontal column of the air, stretches it, and then you start to see the tornado form like that. And these obviously in their own right can be very dangerous, and unfortunately we often see hail and tornadoes here in the springtime here in East Texas, which is why it is very important to remain weather aware during the storm.